Hey, I'm Alex Pham with Billboard magazine, and I'm here with Suite 709. At some point, we're going to find out why they named themselves Suite 709. But for now, we're here to talk to them about their social media strategy. A lot of independent bands have tried to crack the social media code, and established bands as well, with some mixed results. But it turns out that Suite 709 has some really good luck with Google Hangouts and using them, and they're here. All three members of the band are here with us to talk about how they're using Google Hangouts and what it does for them. So, needless to say that their album Night and Day it debuted earlier this summer and hit the number one. Actually, it debuted on number 13 on iTunes, and in large part because of their social media strategy. So, Dietrich, how are you guys using Google Hangouts? What's it doing for you?
So Google Hangouts is doing a lot of great stuff for us. So we basically joined Google Plus in January and started doing these live Hangout concerts from our home studio. And really early on, what it allowed us to start doing is tapping into this international base of fans that we just had no way of accessing before, and they had no way of finding out about our music. But what we found out real early on is that the Google Plus community just gets really excited and is really supportive about artists and people that are creating interesting things. So we started doing these live Hangout concerts, and the Google Plus community just started sharing them really quickly. We were kind of the first band to do these full live concert Hangouts. So we quickly saw just these pockets of international fans joining our Hangouts, and it just kind of has spread from there.
So have you found out whether or not the Hangout concerts that you do translate to better sales or better awareness? Do you get a sense of that right now, or is it still early and you're still getting a feel for it?
Yeah, I think we've done a bunch of different things that we could point to and say yes. Early on, before we were actually selling music, we would do stuff like give away a song, kind of mention it during the Hangouts, and we would see tons of emails come in from that as our mailing list would grow. And then as things progressed, we would release a record, and we would actually be pre-sold records, and we pre-sold way more, like actual vinyls, CDs, the whole works. We did all of that. We saw numbers come in from that, and then actually after releasing the record, and I mean the iTunes charting is a great example as well of like basically what happened with that is the whole album went viral, and everyone, like, we're just totally independent grassroots, and so everybody wanted to see that thing go up the charts, and every time it went up, it got reshared again on social networks. And it was just like everyone was emotionally invested in that going up the charts.
Mm-hmm. You guys also have a YouTube channel, right?
Mm-hmm.
So what's the synergy like between what you do on Hangouts and what you do on YouTube? I mean, do those work really well together, or how does that work? Explain to us.
Yeah, so the great thing about Hangouts is it's auto-archived into your YouTube channel. So you can either just do a musical Hangout or even a conversation or interview, and it'll post directly to your YouTube channel, which is great in itself. But it also posts directly in your Google Plus channel. So within the social network of Google Plus, it can be shared and even viewed. But another great thing we found about Hangouts is all of a sudden we have a lot more video content to share with our fans and users, because we're actually capturing basically live concerts in the form of a Hangout. And it's unique. It's different than just a normal show concert, because we actually get to interact with fans and have conversations one-on-one with up to 9 other fans in the chat with us, and it's a kind of face-to-face interaction that you don't get at a live concert. A lot of times at a live show, we're on stage, we play, and then we're off stage, and hopefully we'll get to see you at the merch table or something like that, but it doesn't allow for these kind of one-on-one face-to-face interactions that you Google Hangout. So even if you've seen the show before, you may still want to tune in, because there's going to be some unique conversations that are going to take place between the members of the band and the members of the Hangout.
Have you guys used other live video streaming tools?
A little bit. I know one time we've done something where they streamed it via Ustream. We haven't really had too much success with that. Just I mean, it's just not really integrated with what we do necessarily. Maybe it is at this point, but I'd say we've dabbled with things here and there. But this has been the easiest, most straightforward way to connect with our fans. And
yeah, we've had some people approach us from Stage It and one other, which I'm sure are great platforms. We actually haven't tried them out. Haven't tried that specific one out. But the main difference for us was just the integration of YouTube and Google Plus. You know, Stage It's kind of its own independent system, and so for us it was kind of a no-brainer because we're big on YouTube. Gerard's a YouTube partner. We already have a YouTube channel. We already have a Google Plus page, and there's this whole social network that's backing the entire platform. So it just kind of made sense versus making our users sign up for a completely different platform. They already have a Gmail account, so all we have to do is send them a link, and they can watch it on YouTube or join.
Right, right. Now, how does the Google Plus community compare to like Facebook? I mean, Facebook, you know, they said they have 1 billion people, and I'm not sure I know how many people are on Google Plus, but I don't think it's 1 billion yet. So maybe it's more about quality versus quantity. I mean, how is the Google Plus crowd for music, for independent music, like, you know, the kind of entertainment that you're offering? Is it a friendly crowd for you? Is it how does it compare to like a Facebook crowd?
Well, I think that the Google Plus crowd, they seem to be a bit more excited because it's a newer thing. It's something that everyone can kind of be involved in. You know, on Facebook, you know, I love Facebook, but people get invited to things all the time. Get invited to events and shows, and so a lot of times, you know, we don't really look at the events. We kind of, you know, okay, I got invited to that. With Google Plus, people are excited. They're excited to go to shows, and that's the really cool thing about Google Plus. We just wrapped up our first national tour, and through Google Plus, we had people that were in our circles on Google Plus at almost every single show on the summer tour, and it was just like, you know, someone would see an ad that, like an invite that we had on Google Plus, and they would drive sometimes 2, 3, even 6 hours to come and see us just because we on Google Plus, and so that's an amazing difference, you know, in Google Plus and Facebook, because people are just excited because it's something that seems like everyone, you know.
Yeah.
The community as a whole is just extremely supportive. There's a number of independent pages. Artists in the Plus is one. Several others that all they do is support independent musicians on Google Plus. They share content. They repost interesting things. Just so many supporters, and we really saw that when we were pre-selling and selling our album, and then also, like Gerard said, on the national tour. That national tour probably wouldn't have been possible without the impetus of all the, you know, Google Plus fans and growth on there. So
yeah, I can piggyback on that too, about just on the national tour side of things. Having been in bands for a really long time, been through MySpace, then into Facebook, and now this, like, I never ever saw the type of response in new markets for a touring band that we saw with Google Plus. I mean, actual like numbers of people coming out, and it's because you establish real relationships with people when you're chatting face to face. And they'll come out and they'll see shows, which is incredible for a touring band. Like that's more important than selling a record, you know?
Yeah. Do they also, I'm curious to know if Google gives you analytics from which you can base where you guys tour, you know, if you know that a lot of your bands, or a lot of your fans are coming from Topeka, Kansas, maybe you should stop by Topeka, or, I mean, do they give you analytics that you guys can use to make business decisions too?
Well, I could speak to that because before we went on tour, we literally sat down and tried to deep dive every single social network to try to do that exact thing. And I think that there's even Facebook has actually gone backwards in terms of what you can see in terms of where your fans are. You can see how many fans you have, but you don't know who they are, and you can't reach out to them. But you know, we would do things like posting maps of the USA and say like, hey, tag yourself in these areas, and like creative things to try to figure out. Obviously, we try to collect zip code with our email list whenever we can, but I think every social network is kind of difficult to do that with, just because of privacy issues.
Yeah.
Okay.
But, yeah, we have grouped a lot of our fans into regional circles. So if they add us and we see, oh, they're in LA, I'll put them in the LA circle or the Kansas City circle or Chicago. But it's hard to keep up sometimes.
Yeah. This privacy thing is annoying sometimes, right?
Yeah, but it's probably for all of our best. So.
Yeah. So one last question: if you had to give some advice to bands about which bands would be good for Google, I mean, is it good for all bands, or maybe it's only good for some types of bands?
Well, I think it's great for bands who are passionate about connecting and building real relationships with people. Because really, that's what this network and that's what this platform is about. Like it's for me, the Hangout. You know, it's about face-to-face personal interaction, building real relationships with people. So if you're interested in doing that as a band, or really any type of organization, then this is like a really incredible platform and tool for you to use. So yeah, if you're creating art, any sort of art, and you want to connect with people that are viewing your art, yeah, it's a great tool.
Who's it not good for?
I mean, I would say if it's about having the right expectations. If you go in expecting like, oh, we created all this music, it's so perfect, and we're gonna unleash it to the world, and they're gonna love it, and you don't actually invest you're not like putting yourself out there as well and saying like, I'm gonna engage in these conversations and have these relationships, and you're just expecting your music to stand on its own. Like, that's not what this network is about. It's not just a promotional platform like that. It's a relationship building platform for sure. So if you have the wrong expectations, people aren't going to cling to it for sure. Doesn't matter what kind of music it is.
Okay, great. If you had to give Google feedback on one thing that you'd really like Google Hangouts to have, what feature would you like it to add? Besides a buy button.
Yeah. Oh, that's a great, like a button to go to Google Play and purchase this track. That'd be great.
Right.
They already enhanced one feature that we gave them feedback on, which was the audio codec. They actually let us test out studio mode as kind of like the first band. So now we're able to switch to studio mode, and the sound quality is improved immensely when we're doing live Hangouts. But I don't know. I feel like maybe the next step is some sort of like HD video kind of thing, but that's probably a bandwidth issue more than a Hangout issue. But
I guess if anybody can solve it, the folks at Google can solve that one, right?
well, I think they're working on putting like fiber optic lines in some cities, so I'm sure it'll come soon enough.
Right, one way or another, either algorithmically or physically putting bandwidth everywhere, fiber everywhere. Well, thanks so much, guys. I really appreciate you taking the time to share with us what your experience has been on Google Hangouts. Awesome. And this was, of course, done with a Google Hangout.
Yeah, absolutely. Awesome.
Okay, we could probably... Yay!
Great. Thank you. Bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.